Greetings, people of the world. Matthias Griffin back with you for another video to celebrate Final Fantasy XIV's 10th anniversary. Today I wanted to do a video that I've been wanting to do probably as much as I've been wanting to do the Dragoon video, but I've also been pushing back. But today I really wanted to do it for all of you guys, and so for this video I wanted to explain why my first choice for playing Final Fantasy XIV was, in terms of race, the Miqote. The Miqote, as I'm sure you all know, was the first human-animal hybrid featured in Final Fantasy XIV, a person with cat ears and a cat tail to boot. There's no question that the Miqote have certainly established themselves as the kawaii of Final Fantasy XIV for sure, and even though we've had new races that have come in like Aura and Viera, which are also human-animal hybrids, which also have characters that can be both very beautiful and cute, the Miqote were here first, and they set the benchmark by which the other races would follow. But yet, even though that's what the Miqote are known for, it's not the reason why I chose Miqote in the first place when I started playing Final Fantasy XIV. When I first started playing Final Fantasy XIV, I took it upon myself to look at all of the lore for the various races that were available to you. And when it came to the lore for the Miqote, I found that it was a lot in tune with things that I liked about myself. It talked about how the males were known to be lone wolves, how they were a race that came to Eorzea during the Age of Endless Frost, which, as someone who loves winter, that was something I could really get behind. It was really the two things about the Miqote lore through the initial setup that really gave me an affinity for them and gave me the belief that this was what I was going to play as, and it's something that I knew I was going to get behind. And then, when it came to choosing one version of the Miqote over the other, my choice was the Keepers of the Moon, which I preferred because I've never really been good when it comes to being out in the sun, so that was something that I shied away from when it came to the Seekers. But I also like the fact that the Keepers of the Moon also had the larger eyes, and I really enjoyed their eyes because even though I have an appreciation of some extent of the narrower eyes that the Seekers have, I found the Keepers' eyes to be much more beautiful. Plus the fact that they also had the larger teeth as well was something I also really enjoyed because it gave them more of a feral appearance when it came to being a cat-human hybrid. And when it comes to the face paint, the cat tats as I like to call them, that the female Miqote have, I prefer the configurations and patterns on the Keepers more than the Seekers. I find them to be more interesting as far as their layout and design. It certainly helped when I created my female Miqote / RP character Rika, who you've seen in a number of my videos that I've done in Final Fantasy XIV for my Let's Play. And there have been no shortage of compliments that I've gotten for my female Miqote. Everyone loves how beautiful she is, everyone loves how cute she is. She gets complimented all the time. I find there'll be instances where I don't even think that she's gonna get complimented, like in dungeons, as far as how she looks, and she'll get complimented for it. So it really speaks volumes of how people really like my Keeper. And I'm really surprised that I don't see more people who play Miqote playing Keeper of the Moon. The majority of them that I see are Seekers. It could very well be that Yshtola plays an influence in this because of how essential of a character she is. But for me, it'll always be the Keepers of the Moon just because of the fact that I like their look more as opposed to the Seekers. And then when it comes to the first character that I ever created in Final Fantasy XIV, my male Miqote, which I've taken the name of for my YouTube handle these days, as well as my Twitch handle, I wanted to make sure initially that when I created my character, that even though it was a Miqote, that it looked a lot like myself. So I used the similar hair color to my real life as well as my eye color, and really used it to great effect to create the character that I initially made for Matthias. But then as time went on, and as I became a Dragoon, and I wanted to work along with the theme of how the Dragoon looked, I had his hair dyed black, and then, once I got the blue armor for Dragoon, I then changed the hair color to match. What's interesting though is that when I started fiddling around with the hairstyles that male Miqote have, there was one that really got my attention, and it wasn't until I messed with the hair colors and the highlighting that I discovered that there was a pattern that I could be able to do that no other race could be able to do as far as the hairstyle was concerned. And that was to have the hairstyle where the hair is pulled back, but then when you add highlights, it looks like it's streaking through your hair. So, since Dragoons have the jumping ability, I really took that to heart, and I dyed Matthias' hair blue to where it is now, and added the streaks of white into his hair to make it look like he has clouds in his hair, which I think really goes well with the Dragoon look and the Dragoon theme, and it was really something that I enjoyed, to be able to create a pattern for a character and to do so on a race that is not available on any other as far as this particular hairstyle and this particular configuration of how the hair looks. And while Matthias may not get the level of compliments that Rika does, I'm nonetheless very proud of my character, and for me, it's something that I'm really grateful to have created a character that I really feel embodies who I am, because in terms of Final Fantasy XIV, or any video game where you have character creation, we have the opportunity to create our ultimate fantasy character, whatever it is that we feel like we are able to create. And with that, I've definitely created with Rika. But we've also had the opportunity to have people like myself who create characters that we feel are the embodiment of ourselves. And with Matthias, I'm able to do that and accomplish that very well also. So to have two Miqote has the embodiments of both what I wanted to embody about myself, as well as the fantasy look, has really allowed me to appreciate the Miqote even more. And I'm so glad that I chose it as my first choice in Final Fantasy XIV for my character. Of course, I've created other characters from other races if you've been following my Final Fantasy XIV Let's Plays as well as my other various streams. So, even though I have appreciations for all the other races as well, I'll always have a special place in my heart for the Miqote as my first choice, and creating the two characters that will always be my favorite. So that is my take on why do I play the Miqote. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. Tell me in the comments why you guys love playing Miqote, if you are someone who does. And tell me what it is that you like about it the most. Tell me who you have as your favorite Miqote, because I've been showing off a whole bunch of them in this particular video. And let me know what you think of them and why you enjoy them in comparison to some of the others. But if you do have other characters who are of other races, like, feel free to say that too, and I'll make sure to cover them in future episodes. So, thank you very much everyone for watching this special Final Fantasy XIV 10th anniversary video on why I play Miqote. And until next time everyone, may you ever walk in the light of the crystal.